Commish Radio Show back again. If you were listening in on the FBRN.US portal, you were hearing, the Commish Radio Show drops done by Young Strip. Young Strip, what's going on?
How you doing today, sir?
Doing fine, man. Tell us how they can get in touch with you.
With me, it's YoungStrip702 on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Or you can go to Facebook, search YoungStrip, hashtag on air, or Fishbowl Radio Network.
That's good, man. You do some of the hottest drops, man.
Oh, I try to. You know, I went to school for it, so I'm trying to get my money's worth now.
All right, so to make sure that you get your money's worth and the people get their money's worth, let's hear one of those drops again.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Let's go ahead and pull it up.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Michael Moore, the poet. When I'm not writing my beautiful words of poetry, I'm tuned in with the Commish Radio Show on the Fishbowl Radio Network.
You want to hear another one?
Yeah, I do, man. You did that for the ladies, man. I mean, you see how you got that?
Hey, everybody, it's Casey Fox, the Lady General, and I consistently listen to the Commish Radio Show for the latest in politics and entertainment.
All right, man. Okay. You still did it for women. I said, who run this mother girls?
Yeah, Casey Fox, yeah.
That's what you did. That's what you did. But, you know, this is what we're talking about on the Commish Radio Show. Thank you again. If you want to get in touch with Strip, hey, he has, like I said, the hottest drops. He does well for everybody. But this has been an exciting campaign, as you know, and I said somewhat appropriate. Who run this mother girls, you know? Hey, but this is the election that we are talking about now. We have a lot of judicial candidates. A lot of them are women that are running for office, and it's been an exciting campaign. We wanted to go ahead and bring everybody on the show, and today we have Judge Ken Tapscott here on the show. Glad to have you here.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you.
Good to see you.
Great
Good to see you. I've seen you a lot on Facebook. Yeah, a lot on Facebook, and I was like going through Facebook, and I'm going like, man, who is? I'm sorry, you're a judge, but
who is
Ken Tapscott? You know, no, but you know how I talk. I said,
sure.
You know, I said, who's due? so Judge, tell us who you are and how you got to become a judge.
Sure. Again, my name's Ken Tapscott. I'm the judge at County Court of Law Number 4. I have been for the last 11 and a half years. It is a civil court. It is a case that hears cases about, a court that hears cases about money and property. I don't hear criminal cases. I don't hear family cases. Before I was a judge, you asked me specifically how I became a judge. Before I ran for judge in 2006, I had worked a decade for a law firm called Barron & Budd, and that is a civil litigation firm doing primarily toxic tort cases, asbestos cases, benzene and other types of contamination, poisoning type cases. And I did that for a decade. And then before that, I'd worked for the government for years, a lawyer with the Social Security Administration. I spent 10 years in civil litigation, going all over the state of Texas, even to states outside of Texas, litigating asbestos cases on behalf of the firm and our clients. And I felt like after having been a civil litigator for 10 years that qualified me to run for a civil litigation bench. And then I felt like I was qualified. I had the experience, and it was time. And as you know, at that point, in American history, George W. Bush was president. He wasn't widely popular. Dallas County was on the brink of turning Democratic, and then I and about 55 other candidates got together and we said, we're going to change Dallas County, and I was part of that team. And Martin Hoffman, Carl Ginsburg, Robert Conyers, Jim Jordan, on we could go. There were 50 to 55 of us that were core that flipped this whole county as a team. Men, women, African American, white, Hispanic. It was a gigantic team, Ed, and we took control of the county in 2006, and I've been a judge ever since. In the time that I've been a judge, Ed, I have put over 420 cases to jury verdict. I've adjudicated over 1,600 non-jury cases, more than any other civil judge in Dallas County in the last decade. I'm not bragging that I outwork my colleagues, but nobody at the courthouse does outwork me. I make sure I move my docket.
Now, I understand that you actually have your docket on Thursdays and Fridays as well? Yeah.
Yes, what I do is I have my motion dockets on Mondays, and then I call jury cases on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays during jury weeks, because Dallas County does have non-jury weeks. Like next week is a non-jury week. And then on Friday, I hear the JP appeals. The most common appeal I get out of JP court is called forcible entry detainer or eviction appeal. And then I hear my regular non-jury cases or small claims appeals on Friday at 10 o'clock. So, I mean, I have a non-jury docket that I typically hear every Friday at 10 o'clock, but I'll hear those eviction appeal cases at 8 a.m. on Friday. And I used to get probably, maybe 12 to 15 a month. When I first became a judge at the height of the recession between 07 to 09, when things got really bad and the foreclosure crisis was going crazy, gosh, Ed, I probably heard 9 to 10 eviction appeal cases every Friday. It was crazy for a while when so many people were losing their homes and they were being evicted. That's the worst part of my job. I don't ever have to put anybody in jail unless they don't do what I tell them to do. And I'm proud to say, in the entire time I've been a judge, I have put one and only one person in jail for 48 hours for refusing to follow the court's orders. That is it. But the worst part of my job is when I have to follow the law. I have to do what the law commands me to do. And I had to award possession to a lot of banks and to a lot of landlords in the eviction process. And some folks had it coming in the sense, Ed, that they just spent way beyond their means and they just simply should never have bought a house that they really couldn't afford even to furnish. But some folks hadn't made those terrible decisions. Some folks had worked hard, they made smart financial decisions, but they simply lost their job, they were out of money, they'd exhausted their savings, and after 6 or 7 months of exhausting their savings, they literally had nothing left. And then the bank came calling, and we had to, myself, Judge Benson, Judge Pfeiffer, Judge Montgomery, Judge Greenberg, those eviction appeals came from JP court all over the county, the ones that came up on appeal. We had to go through that for 2 solid years. It was terrible. It was just awful.
So we don't have that down going?
Well, I mean, obviously we still hit our eviction appeals, but now that the economy is fully recovered, and thanks Obama, seriously.
Now, President Trump says that it's him.
Yeah, which you and I both know is not true, because when Trump took over, the economy, I believe the unemployment rate was like 4.1, now it's down to 3.9. Right. So when Barack Obama took over as President of the United States, and most people have to remember this, and I know we've kind of deviated off my pitch, but let's talk about this, because I want people to remember what Obama accomplished. And when he took over as President of the United States economy was losing 800,000 jobs a month. Barack Obama was handed a big, gigantic pile of you know what, and somebody said, go fix this. When Donald Trump took over as president, Barack Obama handed him a silver platter, because the economy was almost at full employment and was on the way up. All economists knew that the economy was about ready to expand and blow up, and it had been in constant expansion ever since the recession ended in early 2009. If you look at it, I don't know how many months in a row we've had of constant job growth. And if you look from about March of 09 all the way up through the present, it's been on a constant upswing. Donald Trump did not create that. Okay, it was started and created through Barack Obama's leadership. He saved the auto industry. My father is a Chrysler retiree. My grandfather is a General Motors retiree. General Motors and Chrysler were in bankruptcy. Ford was on the brink of bankruptcy. Barack Obama put all the players together and he saved the American auto industry. That's a fact. And it saved a lot of Chrysler and General Motors retirees and their pensions. I mean, Trump can't claim, he has, in some ways he can claim that he is making some accomplishments, like this whole thing with North Korea. If we actually get North Korea to allow inspectors into North Korea, and we can actually get people in there and if they allow us to go in there, because we all know they have nuclear weapons right now. If Trump pulls that off, we all would have to say that's an accomplishment. I think that if we actually got inspectors in North Korea and we were actually able to get them to allow us to see the nuclear facilities they already have right now, and in some ways dismantle their nuclear missile capability, if Trump is able to pull that off, I think we would all, as serious people, have to say, well, that would be an accomplishment. But right now, that hasn't happened. It's not like the North Koreans haven't played us for fools before. I mean, they've made deals in the past. They made deals with George W. Bush. They made deals with President Clinton. They've made deals in the past, and then when they get what they want, they stay quiet for a little while, then they break the deal.
Keep bragging on Trump.
No. I just think, I know you're a serious man. If that were to be the case.
Just saying, I agree with you. And I also agree with the fact that anyone can get lucky.
That's right. That's true.
That anyone can get lucky, you know. And so, by the fact that and we'll go back to your race though. By the fact that we just want to say this about President Trump, by the mere fact that if that is done, that will be not because of him being a diplomat. That will be a direct reaction to him being sort of thrown off. So that is a direct relation on that in itself. This election seemed to be a little thrown off a little bit. You've been accused of a lot of things.
Yeah,
in this election.
I sure have.
I want to go ahead and address a couple of them just straight up. Monday night politics. Monday night politics, I was going to be there to see you and your opponent to give your speech at Monday night politics, and it was reported that you had said "you people."
Yeah.
You know, and out of all of the candidates that have come on the show, and you followed me before, and you know how I am about being straightforward. I want to know, what did you say? I wasn't there, but everyone that was there said that you said it, and I'm going, man, wow, that's not good.
Well, and first, I did not say that. And in fact, I brought with me an article that was written by a reporter with the North Dallas Gazette.
Which happens to be one of the papers I write for.
Okay. And the writer's name is David Wilfong, and he said specifically in his report on the County Court of Law number 4 race, following the forum, reports appeared on Facebook claiming Tapscott had addressed the primarily African-American audience as, quote, "you people." However, these reports are false. He was there. He saw what happened, and you asked me what happened. So what I was trying to do is make a point that, and you followed what's happened over the last several months in Dallas County politics, and the point I was trying to make is that, unfortunately, in our primary, the Democratic primary that occurred earlier this spring, we had some people trying to run for office, asking people to vote for them either based on race or gender. And the point that I was making about Barack Obama is that he is a serious man. And he never once, while he campaigned, although he understood the significance and the importance of being the first African-American elected president of the United States, and that is still a big deal, he never campaigned and asked for anyone to vote for him simply because of his race. And I was trying to make the point that, given the fact that there were some people out, and you probably saw some of those cards that were mailed throughout Dallas County where it said hashtag time's up, hashtag vote for her. Basically, it had a slate of women on it asking women to only vote for women. And the idea of voting for or against someone based on race or gender seems to me to be completely silly, because we all know that we don't get our intelligence from our skin or our junk. We get it from our brains between our ears. Barack Obama's a serious man. That was his point when he was talking about there is no black America or African American, no black America, no white America, no Hispanic America, no Asian America. That was his whole point in the Red States, Blue States speech. That showed he was a serious man. He wanted to talk and deal with Americans as Americans, not as black Americans and white Americans and Hispanic Americans, but as Americans. Martin Luther King was a serious man. He had the same point in the I Have a Dream speech. Even Michael Jackson, the entertainer, had the same point in the Man in the Mirror song. I'm talking to the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. No message could be any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, you got to look at yourself and you got to make a change. That's serious. These people are talking to fellow serious people. And unfortunately, some of the campaigning that's going on in this election cycle shows that some people aren't serious about themselves. They're asking for votes based on race or gender, and neither one of those things is a job qualification for any judicial or political job in the United States of America. It's not. There's no job form that you fill out that says you can only be a judge if you're white or you're black, or you're a man or you're a woman, because those race and gender are irrelevant to doing the job of being judge or being state representative or being president.
So did you explain it to the audience?
I tried, and what happened, as you probably read, as soon as I started to make my point, the room became very disruptive, and some people resisted me even talking about that. And somebody came up to me afterwards, and I'll keep the name to myself, and he said, Ken, what you were trying to say, people knew what you were trying to get at, but you forgot that there were people in the room that aren't on your side. There were people there in my opponent's t-shirt sitting in the front row. There were people there that were waiting for a moment to boo. And I did, and that was me thinking that I could talk to anybody, even a room full of haters, and not everybody hated me.
You wasn't in your own courtroom though.
Exactly, and I forgot my own environment.
You should look out there and say, it's a bunch of women in here. This is not
No, it wasn't just a bunch of.
I'm just saying.
No.
You just said it. Okay.
No. What I'm saying is that there were people in the
No,
room.
I said it. Okay.
Okay, you said it. Okay.
Let me interrupt.
Okay.
I'm just going and forgive me. I'm interrupting the judge.
No.
But you're looking around the room, and there is, and I say a bunch, a lot of women in the audience, because I was there at night. It's predominantly a woman audience. That's got to be kind of a hard sell to say that for that audience.
Well, I was elected with people, a lot of women in 2006 that they're colleagues of mine. I have voted for a lot of women. I have contributed money to a lot of women. I mean, obviously I contributed money to Hillary's campaign. I campaign on behalf of, or I have campaigned on behalf of female candidates. So, but I do that, Ed, for people that I think are qualified for office. I don't go into the voting booth, and I can't speak for you, but do you ever find yourself going into a voting booth saying, well, I'm going to vote for all of these people because they're men, or all of these people because they're female? I mean, I just, the idea of doing that just seems so crazy to me. Maybe I'm just wrong about it, but it seems to me that was the message of Obama, that was the message of Martin Luther King, and again, I even touched on Michael Jackson. There are all kinds of people that have said the same thing. They were either right about it or they're wrong, and I think most people would say that's absolutely right. We should never vote for somebody based on race or gender. We should never do that. And I think that if you're one of those people that has made the decision that you're going to do that, then you're not that type of person that is willing to change your ways. You're not growing with the country. You're not looking at a man as a man, a woman as a woman, and saying who's the most experienced and qualified for the job. Now, you're not being serious.
Your qualifications for the job. I mean, we're getting beyond that. We probably could talk about that one all day long. And we need to move on, not because of that moment in time should not be the center point of your judicial experience and also your tenure on the bench. You've appeared to have a lot of people that are lawyers that have supported you before in the past. Your rating is, I understand lawyers, they rate each other. You know?
They rate the judiciary.
Right.
Yes. And yes, I'm one of the most highly rated judges in the George Allen Courthouse. There are 13 civil district courts. There are 5 county courts along. And the first year I was ever rated, which was 2009, I was the second highest rated judge in the George Allen Courthouse, and I had only been a judge. At the time I was being reviewed for 2 years. The only judge in the courthouse that had higher bar poll ratings was Mark Greenberg. He still has the highest bar poll ratings in the George Allen Courthouse. And then right behind Mark is Judge Tanya Parker, who's an excellent jurist. And by the way, if she doesn't end up becoming a federal judge someday, it'd be a tragedy. If that's what she wants, I think that highly of her skill. I know that she respects me. I think that if she wants it and the time is right, I think she
Yeah,
should.
you're not the first person who said that
Yeah,
about Judge
yeah,
Parker.
yeah.
What are the ratings? What do they mean? What's on the ratings? To
Oh,
those
sure,
people
sure.
who are not familiar with it.
Sure.
And
And
there's a lot of people out there that are listening in on Facebook, and they say, I didn't even know that lawyers graded the judges. So tell us what happens on that.
Well, there are like 5 or 6 categories, and I can't remember them all, but they review, for instance, your judicial temperament, how you treat lawyers and parties in the courtroom. They review your knowledge of the law, preparation for hearings, preparation for trial. That's just off the top of my head, and I'm sorry that I don't remember all the categories, but when you go through all the categories, I'm at on average right around a 90% approval rating, either as excellent or acceptable by all lawyers in Dallas County who have reviewed me. Now, some categories I might be at 88%, and other ones I might be at 91 or 92, but on average I'm right around 90% in all the categories that if you were to just add up all the percentages, you're going to come right around 90%.
So you're B plus, or
I'm
you're
sorry?
not bragging, you're B plus.
No, I'm not trying to brag, but I
That's
obviously
what they graded you, right?
I'm sorry?
That's how they graded you, though,
Oh,
right?
yes, that's exactly right. And I'm one of the highest rated judges in Georgia Allen, and I have been ever since I've been a judge. I was reviewed in 2009, 2011, 2013, 2015, and 2017. So I've been reviewed multiple times, and you will find that there's amazing consistency in how the lawyers have reviewed me throughout my judicial career. I get my work done, and I treat people with respect in my courtroom. The lawyers know it, and my bar polls show it.
Okay. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about the campaign, and we'll go into a couple of other things that'll happen as well.
Okay.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right.
Ain't nothing but against the party. They messed up
Read
again.
off some of the
Fishbone Radio is messed up again, man.
They do that to me.
They got America's 2 most wanted back together again, man.
Come on, we still got our crowns
We
on.
still live
We
on
the
this
kings,
one.
we the kings of internet radio.
Doing good. You know which camera I'm looking
Two
at.
kings of fish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I saw it.
In the gray bowl, 1 to 307.
Yeah, I kind of keep my head down when I make my point. I'm sorry.
No, you good.
Okay.
Looking right into the camera.
That's
You got Corin Henry.
So you guys
Says hello to you.
Okay.
Don't miss it. We know you ain't doing nothing.
Haney?
on Saturday.
Corey, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Corey Haney.
And it's always
Keep
with us.
going with this one.
Two
I'll be
kings.
right back. I gotta get this message that we got from NAACP and was here. They had mentioned you earlier, as you know. But we did have a question that came in before, and I gotta pull it up. So when I get it, we'll come back. Let's let these drops continue. I'll be right back in about 2 minutes.
Whenever I get
All
a
right,
spare
you
moment
cut?
in between writing
Okay.